Hello, everyone. Good morning to you, good afternoon, good evening, depending on whichever part of the world you're tuning in from. In fact, I'm so excited to welcome you to yet another promising edition of the Forex Morning Mastery with Sheriff Daramola. Well, today promises to be an interesting edition and, of course, insightful, considering the fact that today is the last trading day of the week. Happy Friday to everyone. And of course, we all know by now that last trading days of the week always comes with its own peculiarity, which we are also going to be taking into consideration. And one of the facts that we are going to leverage on today is that being the last trading day of the week, there are peculiarities of potential reversal setups coming up today, considering the fact that major key players or majority of participants in the market who had capitalized on a very strong momentum during the course of the week are likely going to be doing some profit-taking activity ahead of the weekend. And as a result of this expectation, we are likely going to be seeing some reversal setup where we will be seeing some retracements of the previous impulse legs. So all of this we are going to be taking into consideration while we look at the financial market today. And for those who are joining us for the first time, you are highly welcome. I'm glad to have you around, and you might be asking that what do we do here? Well, we come together here on a daily basis, 8:05 a.m. UTC, to review our positions. We normally have a handful of assets we monitor throughout the course of the week, and in fact, it is a follow-up detail to the videos I normally share during the course of the weekend, where we anticipate how we are going to be projecting our buyers ahead of the week. So it's a follow-up detail, and we normally review the 1 hour time frame, which is our execution time frame. So if you do want to have a background knowledge of how we got to the point where we are right now, or the screen you have right now, then I would encourage you to watch my videos on these assets, which are duly detailed in the description box below, and of course they are duly time-stamped. You can easily navigate to whichever aspect of the video is of your interest. So once again, you are highly welcome on board. Now, as we kickstart the session, first of all, I would like to appreciate every single one of you who had waited. I was trying to sort out some issues which could affect the fluency of this session, but I am glad that everything is working fine. I would like to get some feedbacks in the comment section as regards to the quality of the video and the audio. Please let me know if the sound is good and the visuals are quite all right. Feel free to let me know in the comment section. I really do appreciate your feedbacks, as it will help me know we're on the same page, and if there are any issues, please let me know so that I can do the necessary adjustments to let us have a better experience out here. So once again, we are highly welcome on board. Well, the last 24 hours had been quite interesting. As you all know, the US dollar preserved its strength amongst the peers on the asset we're monitoring, especially as we anticipate the Jackson Hole Symposium, which started yesterday. Of course, it's going to run through today and of course tomorrow. And today the Fed chair is going to be having a speech, which everyone is anticipating, and of course tomorrow the ECB governor is going to be having a speech too as well. So these are very high impact event. So let's run through the economic calendar as we all do. You know how we do it in this community. We always check the economic calendar. The first thing we do is check the economic calendar, as we all know by now that these fundamental factors often manifest on the chart in technical patterns and price movement. And by monitoring the economic calendar, we can easily identify potential correlations between key economic releases and, of course, specific technical patterns, hereby giving us valuable information that will make us position ourselves in such a way that we can capitalize on any potential trading opportunity prior, during, and even after the event. So with that being said, here on the economic calendar, we normally focus on high impact event, which will be affecting the assets on our watch list. And so far, the assets on our watch list are the US dollar, the Japanese yen, and of course the pound sterling. So we are going to be looking at macroeconomic event, high impact event from the United States, the United Kingdom, and of course the Japanese economy. So for today, Friday, August 25, we have the Jackson Hole Symposium, which will be kickstarting in about 6 hours from now, I think. And for those who don't know what the Jackson Symposium is, well, it is a significant annual gathering of central bankers, economists, and financial market participants. It offers a platform to discuss critical economic and monetary policy issues, which of course is going to definitely impact the market sentiment. And as a result of this and how important it is, it makes a whole lot of people stay tuned in not to miss out on that event. And especially today, when we are going to be having the first chairman's going to be having a speech today, definitely we all want to see what is going to be saying. Then yesterday we have the consumer price index from the Japanese economy. Since we are monitoring the USDJPY, it's appropriate that we also know what the outcome of the CPI data is. And for those who don't know how important it is, this is an index that measures the inflationary status of an economy, impacting the purchasing power of consumer and influencing market expectations about central bank policies and interest rates. And for this, the data here, generally a high reading is considered as positive for that economy. Now, if we look at what came in yesterday night for the consumer price index from the Japanese economy, remember we were looking at economists' projection of 3% as against the previous data for the month of July that came in at 3.2%. So what came in yesterday was way below expectation, giving us a negative deviation of minus 0.5. So it came in at 2.9%, which is not that promising or palatable for the Japanese economy. And as a result of that, we are beginning to see some traction in favor of the US dollar on the USDJPY pair, which of course I'm of the opinion that price is likely going to be skyrocketing one more time today. So we are going to be looking at how we will position ourselves ahead of that one too. So with that being said here, we shall be diving right into the business. And I see some couple of comments here from Halan. Halan, good morning to you and glad to have you around. It's been a while since I see you. I know it's you, Steamroller. Thank you very much for checking in. All right, so with that being said here, let's dive right into the business. So as usual, the first financial asset we are going to be taking today is going to be the GBPUSD, that is the cable market. Now, on the GBPUSD, we have an interesting situation going on right now, as finally the US dollar has gained quite a lot of traction in the last 48 hours as we saw price action nosedive into the 1.25600 level in the last 48 hours. Though we had some buy positions at the beginning of the week before we begin to, at the point in time we had a stop loss hit. Remember that was on Wednesday morning, we had a stop loss hit on that one. But fortunately for us, we were able to recoup the loss we incurred on that day. And on this, at this point in time, we are currently running on the positive side of our portfolio on the GBPUSD. So I would like us to run through how the week started for us here on the GBPUSD and what led to the idea or the decisions we made on this asset. So I will zoom right into the beginning of this week. Let's see what really happened at the beginning of the week. So at the beginning of this week, we saw, I remember I told you that I will be deliberating on the 1 hour time frame, especially for those who are joining us for the first time. Because of time, I wouldn't be able to go through the higher time frame. So I will just be deliberating on the 1 hour time frame. And if you do want to have an idea of how we got to this point, then I would encourage you to watch the videos on the GBPUSD, which are duly located in the description box below. So at the beginning of the week, we realized that price action was confined within a range, as you will see here, that was between the 1.275 and the 1.27250, which was a beautiful flat channel to work with for the week. And you know how we do it in this community. When price action falls into this kind of range, we want to remain patient for a signal to come, which of course will come either in the form of a breakout of the resistance line to give us an opportunity to buy, or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to sell. Now, if you look at the structure at the beginning of the week, we had some sell position triggered actually around this area, and in fact price moved about 15-17 pips before we were taken out of that position. And remember, I told us all that morning on that we should move all stop losses to break even, and of course we were taken out at break even. Then we saw price break out of the resistance line, which gave us our first buy position for the week, and we saw price climb a little bit higher. As you will see, we saw price climb up. We had about 2 positions before the bearish momentum begin here. And one thing about that bearish momentum, which I laid emphasis on right here on the Forex Morning Mastery, was that I wouldn't be part of that bearish momentum, considering the fact that I was seeing it as a retracement of that bullish momentum we saw here. And I told us all that we shall be looking out for buy pressure around the 1.2725, which also shares a confluence with that ascending trend line we spotted at the beginning of the week. And in fact, as a result of this buy pressure here, we decided to have a buy stop order above the 1.275, which unfortunately did not click as expected, as we saw price action drop significantly to the downside. And this was an immediate reaction to the United Kingdom economic event that came in on that day, I think, and that was the S&P Global publication for the composite, the manufacturing, and the CIPS services PMI, which of course we all know came in below expectation and wasn't a promising data at all. And in fact, the market reacted significantly in that regard. And of course, we were part of that move. Remember, we had a sell stop order below the 1.27250 area, which of course we joined the second sell position for the week. And with that single move, we were able to recoup the loss we incurred earlier. And on that day, I made mention that for those who had missed out on this opportunity, that we want to remain patient and see if the market will be kind enough to give us a second chance for that sell opportunity. And of course, that was exactly what happened. As you saw, price came back to retest the structure and continued selling pressure. And we discussed about this yesterday, giving us a very beautiful selling opportunity as we rode that move all the way to the downside. And in fact, we had multiple entries on this one. As you will see, we had small opportunities at the breakdown of the 1.271. As you will see here, we also joined at the 1.26700 level. We also added one more position at the 1.262 as we rode that move all the way to the downside, giving us over 300 pips in profit. Is it close to 300 pips in profit on 4 positions on the GBPUSD? And for those who were part of this profitable journey, Well done to you for being on standby to have capitalized on this opportunity. Now, for those who still have a sell position running at this point in time, I will be suggesting that it is high time we moved our stop losses to secure this current sell position. Of course, we don't want to lose out on what we had made so far. And from the look of things right here, I'm of the opinion that anywhere below or around the 1.262 seems most appropriate to move all stop losses to, and that is going to be somewhere around here, as this is the last previous structure we have in this market. So we should be moving our stop loss into the zone while we wait out and see how the market is going to play out from this current structure at this point in time. So with a well secured position here, what is going to be our next line of action for today? And considering the fact that we are looking forward to the first chairman speech today, how is the market going to anticipate this event, and what do we think will happen? Are we going to continue selling the GBPUSD today, or is there likelihood of a buying opportunity come in around this area? Now, before we go into that details, I would like us to run through my commentary this morning on the GBPUSD. For those who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will definitely have gotten this update. But for those who are not, it's okay. We shall run through it together and see how we intend to manage our position on the GBPUSD for today. So this is how we have been managing our GBPUSD since the beginning of this week. So this morning, about an hour ago, I did an update where I made mention here that the US dollar maintains its robust stance on Friday with all eyes on the Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's upcoming speech at the Jackson Hole Symposium. Amidst this anticipation, the prevailing selling pressure persists, yielding over 350 pips in profit from 4 positions. It is advised to secure all positions while we remain vigilant for more potential trading opportunities. Now let's go back into the live chat here. Hold on a second. Sorry, Chris, give me a moment, please. I think I'm having some technical issues at this point. Just give me a couple of seconds, please. All right, so back again. Sorry for the break in transmission. So right here on the 1 hour time frame, what is going to be our plan? What is it that we are going to be seeing to capitalize on any potential opportunity today? Now, the first thing here is that it is quite clear that price action has been bearish since Tuesday's trading session, as you will see here. And in that regard, price action had continued to find lower highs and lower lows in this particular market, and as a result of that, we were able to connect the series of lower highs to give us this descending trend line you can see on your screen right now. And in fact, you know how we use our trend lines in this community, especially a descending trend line. As long as price still remains below that descending trend line, we have no business buying that asset. Now, with the case scenario here, price still remains below the descending trend line, then it makes quite a lot of sense that we continue to look out for selling opportunities. Now, if we are looking out for selling opportunities, where is it that we think another incitation of selling opportunity will begin? Now, in addition to that trend line is this 1.2620 level, which was a buy niche since last week Monday. As you will see here, how sellers struggled around that area initially. Look at what happened right here on Monday. Last week Monday, we saw what happened around here. Then we saw what happened here on Wednesday. That was 2 days ago. We saw what happened here. We saw buy pressure. And finally, yesterday, we saw the breakdown of that structure, giving us how strong the sellers are at this point in time. Now, with this observation here, and from a technical standpoint, whenever we cite a breakdown of a key structure such as the 1.262, there are chances that price action will still come back, retest that structure in anticipation of a downtrend scenario. And since price action tested the 1.25600 level, as you will see here, we have noticed some buy pressure since the early hours of today, which I'm of the opinion that it is likely going to be a retracement of that bearish impulse leg we witnessed yesterday. Now, how far will this retracement phase go is what we don't know at this point in time, but we can use our structures here to project where it is likely going to culminate before the trend continuation to the downside will happen. And to do that, we have a couple of levels here, like this one right here. We have the 1.262, which was finally broken yesterday. And I think that level also shares a confluence with that descending trend line we spotted at the beginning of the week. Now, if price action comes into this area, then we want to be looking out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of selling this asset. And this, of course, will reflect on the chart as continued selling pressure. We could, in fact, see a reversal pattern in the form of a double top, either head and shoulder pattern, horizon wedge, whichever case it may be. But most importantly, we want to see signs that buyers are finding it difficult to break above that descending trend line. And if this is going to be the case, then we want to be part of a trend continuation to the downside. So this is one way through which we are going to be managing a trend continuation. So for those who had missed out on the sell opportunity, we can remain patient and wait to see how far will this bullish momentum go before another wave of bearish momentum will happen. So that is one scenario to this. Then the other possibility that could happen here is price may not climb up or go that far. It's very possible. It's not all the time price action follows through the technical expectation. So if price does not go that far and instead it continues to find lower lows and lower highs, then we want to position ourselves right below the 1.256 to capitalize on the downtrend continuation. So the 1.256 level would also be serving as a key determinant of selling opportunities for today. Now, to capitalize on this opportunity, for those who have been with us for a while now, you know how we do it here. For those who have been part of this profitable journey since the beginning of the week, you can afford to have your sell stop order below the 1.256, since we can afford to leverage on the profit we had made so far this week to test waters around that area. And of course, if it doesn't click, then it's still going to be on the positive side of our portfolio. But for those who are joining this position for the first time, well, we would want to wait for confirmations to happen. So we will look out for a breakdown first of all. We'll scale down into a lower time frame to look out for confirmations, which will reflect on the chart as a retest of structure before we jump into that position. So this is how we are going to be selling the GBPUSD for today. And for the buyers who are considering taking advantage of buying opportunity at this point in time, well, I would rather want to see price action break out of that descending trend line before I jump into any buy position here. So this is what I really mean at this point in time. So we have the 1.26200 level, which also shares a beautiful confluence with that descending trend line we identified earlier. So for me to consider buying this asset for today, I would rather see price break out of that descending trend line. Then if we can see retest of structure giving us further confirmation of how strong the buyers are, this might incite an uptrend continuation, of course. So let's keep this in mind. Let's mark out these levels, as we shall be using them as a guide or as a reference point to guide our trading activities for today. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD. And in fact, the way things are going, if a bullish momentum will come in, considering the fact that today is the last trading day of the week, and those who had been selling the pounds over the week may want to be doing some profit-taking activities, which of course I said could turn out to be a reversal setup, we might likely be joining early enough, even before the breakout of the descending trend line happens. But that will only happen if we have significant structures and patterns that suggest that truly price action will be climbing to the upside. So if that comes up, I will definitely give you an update on both my TradingView and Telegram platform on what we are going to be doing next. So these are my views here on the GBPUSD for today. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know right in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever, while you can also use that time to mark out these levels on your charts. All right. In the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page here. So we shall be moving right into the next financial asset on our watch list. I see your comment, Jim Daz. Thanks for the compliment, and I'm also very glad you are around. So with that being said here, let's move right into the next financial asset on our watch list. So the next asset on our watch list for today is the XAUUSD, popularly known as the gold spot. And of course, this is my favorite asset amongst the assets on our watch list. And in fact, we've done pretty well on the XAUUSD so far this week. As remember, we have been buying this asset since the beginning of the week. And along the line, we were able to scoop in over 600 pips in profit on that buy positions we had so far this week. So at this point in time, we are very on the positive side of our portfolio on the XAUUSD. And for those who have been part of this profitable journey, well done to you. Kudos to you for being on standby to have been able to capitalize on this opportunity. So I would like us to run through how the week started so that we can have an idea of where we are coming from and what really led to the idea that we want to be buying this asset for this week. And of course, this will also help us to understanding how to use price action to identify potential trading opportunities. So now looking at this chart right here on the 1 hour time frame, of course, we started this at the beginning of the week, acknowledging the fact that price action has been bearish since the beginning of this month. And to further emphasize the bearish momentum, we were able to connect a series of lower highs to give us a couple of descending trend line, which of course has been helping us to capitalize on that bearish momentum since the beginning of this month. Now, something interesting happened last week that made us begin to question the momentum of the sellers at this point in time. And that's began to reveal itself around the 1,885 level, as you will see here. Now, since last week, Thursday, we begin to see how the sellers struggled as soon as price got into that area. So look at what happened here on Thursday of last week. We saw buy pressure resume, negating all attempt by the sellers to break through that structure. We saw the same thing also happen here at the beginning of the week as we continue to see buy pressure had in fact higher lows to further emphasize that we are likely going to be seeing a breakout of those descending trend line to incite an uptrend continuation here. Now, with the situation we saw here, we were getting ready to be part of a bullish momentum, waiting for the breakout of that descending trend line. And in addition to these structures here was the range we spotted between the 1,891. As you will see at the beginning of the week, price action was within a range, giving us an insight into the level of indecision at that point in time. And you know how we do it in this community. When price action falls into this kind of range, we want to wait patiently for a signal to come up, which always comes in the form of either a breakout of the resistance line or the breakdown of the support line to give us an opportunity to either buy or sell. Now, with the scenario we saw here at the beginning of the week, we saw our price action did break out of the resistance line at the 1,891, and during our live session on Monday, this was where we were, and I told us that as a result of this observation, we are likely going to be buying this asset. And with this in mind, we had to position ourselves just right above the 1,891 to capitalize on that bullish move. And in fact, we saw price move significantly. We had about 70 pips run first of all before price dropped back down again. Remember, we're still looking forward to the breakout of the 1,891, and then boom, price broke out of the structure. In fact, it even broke out of that major descending trend line to further emphasize that we are going bullish for the week. And in fact, we were able to capitalize, maximize the potential of that move. Remember, we had very important level that we spotted on the charts we used to maximize the potential of this move. So the first one here was the 1,896, which we of course added one more position right there. We also added one more at the 1,900 before the bearish momentum began. And I think I made this clear on Tuesday. Yes, I think on Tuesday during our live session, I told us that it is very likely that the breakout of the 1,900 level could turn out to be a false breakout. So, and if this is going to be the case, we might likely be seeing some selling pressure come in to push price to the downside. And I, of course, made mention that I wouldn't be part of that opportunity because I will be seeing it as a retracement of this impulsive move that broke out of that descending trend line. And of course, you know, from a technical standpoint, when price action breaks out of a descending trend line, we expect that price will at some point come back to retest the trend line which was broken to incite a trend continuation. So because of this understanding in mind, I told us all I'm not going to be selling. I will be waiting for price to come back and retest the structure, where I will be looking out for buying setup to join the uptrend continuation. And of course, with that in mind, I told us that for those who are scalpers, who are short-term traders or counter trend traders, you might want to capitalize on that bearish move. And I think I got some feedbacks as regards this. Some of us took advantage of this 100 pip move to the downside before this bullish momentum started here on Tuesday. And for those who are part of our XAU USD live monitoring window right here on YouTube, you are part of this opportunity as we took advantage of the strong momentum as we kept on adding more position as we saw price broke out of the 1,900 level, added one more position there. We also added one more at the 1,904. So we had about 3 positions running between Tuesday and Wednesday's trading session to capitalize on this 600 pips move. And well done once again to everyone who had been part of this profitable journey. And during our live session yesterday, we talked about a new setup gradually unfolding on this chart. So I would like to zoom right in so that we can see things clearly at this point. So we had a couple of levels here that we spotted during the live session yesterday, and one of them is the 1,923 level, which happens to be the highest point price action has been for this week. And we saw that as soon as price got into that level, despite the very strong bullish momentum we witnessed prior to this moment, we saw sharp rejection of that level, giving us signs that sellers might likely be coming in at that point. So we saw a sharp rejection here, and I told us yesterday that we might likely be seeing a retracement of that impulsive move we witnessed a couple of days ago, which could be as a result of profit-taking activity. Of course, it's a psychological thing. Whenever you buy at a very cheap price and price action moves significantly well, you want to be closing in your position so that you can scoop in that profit and probably wait for another uptrend continuation. So we saw some selling pressure come in yesterday, and of course we took advantage of a sell position at the breakdown of the 1918 during our XAUSD live monitoring window yesterday. Price moved well, no, not that significant actually, moved about 60 pips before the buy pressure came in, and of course we do move our stop losses to secure the position, and of course we were taking out had a worst case scenario break even. And during the later part of yesterday, we begin to see another sign of selling pressure come in. As you will see, we saw selling pressure come in again, and of course because of that, we looked out for more opportunities below the 1918, and of course this is what is still going on right now, as price still remains above the 1918 level. Now, for those who still have a sell position running at this point, it is very appropriate that you move all stop losses to the entry point right here at the 1918 while we wait and see how the market is going to be reacting to this current structure. So with a well-secured position right now, what is going to be our plans for today, and how do we intend to manage our positions for today's trading session, especially where we are looking forward to the first chairman's speech coming up later today? Now, before we go into that detail, I would like us to run through my commentary on the XAUUSD this morning. For those who are with me on both my TradingView and Telegram platform, you will definitely have gotten an update in that regard. But for those who are not, it's okay. We shall run through that quickly and see how we said we are going to be managing this position. So this is how we have been managing the XAUUSD since the beginning of this week. And about an hour ago, I made mention, okay, all right, this is it right here. So I said here that selling pressure remains existent at this juncture as price action breaks down the ascending trend line for the first time since Tuesday. We'll remain attentive to further potential selling opportunities. However, a pivotal moment is at hand. If the price struggles to breach the 1912 level, this could favor buyers and trigger a bullish momentum. A successful breakout retest of the 1918 level may open the door to buying opportunities. Keep in mind that imminent speech by the Fed Chairman Jerome Powell at the Jackson Hole Symposium holds the potential to significantly impact the market dynamics later today. So let's go back into the live chat and expatiate on what we just talked about here. So like I said, we finally saw price break down that ascending trend line for the first time since last week Tuesday. I would like to show you what that simply means here. So we had this trend line since last week Tuesday, as you will see, and you know how we use our trend lines in this community. As long as price remains above the trend line, we look out for buying opportunities. But if price action at any point in time breaks down the trend line, the likelihood of a potential shift in momentum is coming up as we get ready to be part of that move. Now, we finally saw the breakdown of that ascending trend line right here during the early hours of today, as you will see, giving us signs that we might likely be selling further to the downside, but we shouldn't be jumping into conclusion at this point in time. And the reason why I said we shouldn't be jumping into conclusion that we could be selling for today is the fact that the 1912 level has held buy pressure. So despite the selling pressure we witnessed here in the last 24 hours, we noticed that as soon as price got into the 1912, we saw a very sharp rejection of that level, giving us signs that sellers were unable to settle into that level. And when this is going to be the case, there are chances that we could begin to see a new platform for buying opportunity gradually unfold. And in this case scenario, with this whole scenario here, it is quite clear that within the $1,914.50 level, and the 1912 is an area where sellers have been struggling despite that sell pressure we witnessed here yesterday, and there is a high chance that price will likely be breaking out of this descending trend line to incite an uptrend continuation. And as a result of this idea, I immediately moved my stop loss to secure this current sell position, as we don't want to get caught up in the scenario where price pulls back and we get caught up in a loss. Now, with this setup gradually unfolding here, it's looking as if price action will begin to incite a bullish momentum. Now, look at what happened here during the early hours of today. We saw our sellers struggle to break through. We saw buy pressure at every point in time, hereby giving us something that looks more like a reversal pattern, as you will see, where the 1914 is serving as a neckline of that reversal pattern. Well, for those who had bought around the 1914, well, it's okay. There is no problem about that. And it's looking very reversal-ish in nature at that point in time. But because of the fact that price still remains below that descending trend line, made me more skeptical about this setup here. So what I'm looking forward to right now to join the bullish momentum is to see price action break out of that descending trend line. So if we do have a breakout of the descending trend line, then at this point I want to start considering buying. So I would like to see something like a breakout. Then when I scale down to my lower time frame, look out for retest of structure to help me capitalize on that uptrend continuation. And in fact, we have a level right there that we can use to guide our trading activity, and that is around the 1916 level 30-cent area. So I would like to give this a different color to make things a little bit more distinct compared to the other levels. So we have $1,916 30-cent level right here. So you do want to be marking out that levels on your chart right away, as we shall be using this to guide any bullish momentum from this point in time. So we have this right here. So breakout retest. And in fact, for those who have been part of this profitable journey so far this week, you can afford to have a buy stop order above that area. We know that we are leveraging on the profit we have made so far this week, and even if price goes against us, we're still going to be on the positive side of our portfolio. So let's leverage on that and see how far this momentum will go. And in fact, we have more levels to capitalize on that bullish move. We have the 1918, as you will see here, and of course we have the 1923, which happens to be the highest point where price action is for this week. A breakout retest will definitely welcome more trading opportunities to capitalize on that bullish momentum. So right now things are looking reversalish in nature to incite the uptrend continuation. So we continue to look out for bullish buyers as long as price remains within the zone between the $1,914.50 level and the 1,912 area. Now, in as much as we're looking out for buying opportunity, please don't let us get too carried away or too excited with this bullish momentum, as the likelihood of sellers is still very, very possible at this point in time. Now, if we are going to be considering selling, I would rather want to see price action slice through this zone that has been a buy zone. I want to see price slice through that structure, and in fact I would need some confirmation like a retest of structure to give me an opportunity to sell. So this is what we shall be looking at if the market is going to change buyers from what we expect into a downtrend scenario. So let's keep this in mind. Mark these levels out on your chart, as we shall be needing them as a reference point to guide our trading activities for today. I don't know if you have any question. If you do, please let me know in the comment section. I am willing and here to be of help in that regard. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions whatsoever before we move on to the last financial asset for today. And you can as well use that time to mark out these levels on your chart. All right, so I see a couple of comments here. Adeni Babalola. All right, okay, I take that as a compliment. Thank you very much. Steamroller said he already bought. Okay, very good. It's a very good idea, very good opportunity buying around that area, especially when we are just right above that that demand zone here. I personally have a sell stop order above the 1916 here, which shares a confluence with the descending trend line we spotted here, with a stop loss sitting somewhere right around the previous low of about 30 to 35 pip stop loss around that level. Let's see how the market will play out. We are not being fixed on an opinion. We want to ensure that we are dynamic as possible. So let's see how the market will play out in the next couple of hours. And of course, I will definitely be with you on both my TradingView and Telegram platform to give you updates on what we are going to be looking at. And don't forget, ensure you are part of the XAU USD live monitoring window, which is going to be coming up live here 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session. So try as much as possible to be part of that session. I will be sharing the link in a moment, so you can click on the link and click on the notify me button so that you don't miss out on that session. So with that being said here, and in the absence of no questions, I want to assume that we are all on the same page here. So we shall be moving right into the next financial asset. And if you still have any question along the line, feel free to drop them right in the comment section. So moving on. So the next financial asset on our watch list for today is the USDJPY. Very, very interesting setup we have here on the USDJPY. In fact, we have been doing pretty well also on the USDJPY. There were moments where we bought, there are moments where we sold, and we bought again. And in fact, on all scenarios, price action moved pretty well in our favor, giving us enough of pips to scoop on this asset. And for those who have been part of this profitable journey, well done to you guys for being on standby to have been capitalize on this opportunity. Now let us run through how the week started for us here on the USDJPY, what led into the decisions we made here. So I will be zooming right into the beginning of the week right here. What did we see at the beginning of the week? Well, the first thing we observed on the USDJPY 1 hour time frame was the fact that price action was above our key level at the 145.00 area. And you know how we use our key levels in this community. As long as price action remains above the key level, we have no business selling that asset. We will continue to look out for patterns and structures that will support the idea of buying that asset. For those who don't know how we identify the key level, I encourage you to watch my video on the USDJPY. The link is right in the description box or below. Check it out and see how we identify the key level. Now moving on, in addition to the key level, we spotted a descending trend line which we acknowledged started on Thursday last week, as you saw. And in fact, because of this trend line, I was of the opinion on Monday that this might lead to the breakdown of the descendant of the key level to incite a sell-off. Of course, that never happened. Then we also had a range where price action was initially confined, that was within the 145.490, as you will see here, and the 145.150 to give us a flat channel to work with. And you know how we do it. Let me zoom this in a little bit so that we can see things clearly. So you know how we do it whenever we have a flat range. We want to wait for price action to either break down the support line to give us selling opportunities, or break out of the resistance line to give us buying opportunities. But with the way things are, you see that price never at any point during the first day of the week to break down that support line. So we were looking more of buying opportunities here. And now a key moment happened here during our live session on Monday, when we saw price break out of that descending trend line with an engulfing bullish candle, which was a momentum candle at that point in time. And at this point, we knew that price action is likely going to be going bullish. And to further emphasize this was how price came back to retest the trend line, followed by continued buy pressure. And as a result of this, we positioned ourselves above the 145.490 to capitalize on that bullish move. And in fact, we were able to maximize the potential of that bullish move. As you will see here, we kept on adding more positions, had the breakout of the 145.650, as you see here. Then we also added more positions at the breakout of the 145.950, and of course we added more positions at the breakout of the 146.600, which of course didn't last long before selling pressure came in, taking us out of all the buy positions we had. So as at the beginning of this week, we were already profitable on the USDJPY. Then on Tuesday, we begin to see a shift in momentum gradually unfold, and after noticing continued selling pressure around the 146.300, we begin to anticipate opportunities to sell. And as a result of that, we positioned ourselves just right below the 145.950 to capitalize on that bearish move. And in fact, for those who missed out on the first bearish opportunity, as we saw the breakdown here, the market was very kind enough to give us the privilege to be part of that bearish move as it came back to retest the structure. And as you will see, since that moment, price action continued to nosedive all the way to the downside. And of course, we capitalized on more opportunities here by adding more positions at the breakdown of the 145.650. As you see here, we added more positions right here at the 145.490. We also added one more at the 145.150 and at the breakdown of the 145.00 area. So it was quite an interesting position for us here in this community so far this week. It has been very, very profitable for us. Well done, everyone who had been part of this profitable journey. Then yesterday's trading session, we saw this bullish momentum gradually build up. Some of us took advantage of this bullish opportunity as we saw this double bottom structure, which for me at that point was more or less a counter trend opportunity. But for those who took advantage of it, it's okay. But the reason why I didn't buy at that point was simply because of the fact that price was still below my descending trend line. And because of this, because of this descending trend lines here, let me spot them out for you to see. So we had this descending trend lines here, and because of the fact that price remains below the descending trend line, I was very skeptical about this bullish momentum. So I said here yesterday that for me to buy, I would rather want to see price action break out of that descending trend line, retest of structure to join that bullish move, which was exactly what happened here. So we waited and see how the market would react to this trend lines here. So I told us all that if we start seeing reversal patterns like double top structure, then price is likely going to be respecting the trend line to incite a downtrend scenario. Of course, this never happened, but instead price broke out of that structure. And for those who missed out on that first move, price indeed came back, retest the structure to incite the uptrend continuation. So at this point in time, we have about how many positions running right now? We have one right here. We took advantage of this one. Then we added another position at the 145.650 and of course at the 145.950, giving us about 3 positions with roughly over 100, close to 100 pips in profit at this point in time. And you know how we do it. For those who still have a buy position running right now, it is very, very important you move all stop losses to secure this position, as we wouldn't want to get caught up in any scenario that will take us out from the profitable position into a loss. So at this point, I will be suggesting that anywhere right below the 145.900 and the 145.800 seems most appropriate to have our stop losses on all of the buy positions we have here. let's give enough room for price action to breathe while we consider where our stop loss is going to be around this area. Now, with a well-secured position at this point, what is going to be our next line of action for today? How do we intend to manage this position on the USDJPY? Now, before we go into the details, I would like us to run through my commentary on both the TradingView and Telegram platform this morning on how we are going to be managing our positions for today. Now, look at the structure. Okay, this is how we've been monitoring the USDJPY so far this week. So let's see. Okay, right here. So I said here that price action continues its climb, marking a second consecutive day of new highs. This upward movement is bolstered by a Tokyo CPI print that align with the Bank of Japan's dovish stance, further weakening the yen. With approximately 90 pips accrued across 3 positions, it is prudent to secure all positions. We remain vigilant for more potential buying opportunities ahead of today's event. Now, let's go back into the live chat. Let's see what I was talking about here. Now, with a well-secured buy position, while trying to decipher where price action is likely going to be going for today, I spotted an ascending trend line, which we are going to be using to guide our trading activity for today. In fact, so we have this trend line here. After connecting the series of higher lows, as you will see, price has consistently respected that trend line. It was only here on Thursday morning that we had the breakdown of that structure, but since that moment, price had remained above that ascending trend line. And of course, you know how we use our ascending trend line in this community. As long as price action remains above the ascending trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position, while we also look out for more opportunities to buy. The only condition that will make us consider selling at this point in time is for price action to break down that ascending trend line. Now, let's go back into the chart. Now, if you look at the structure here, since the early hours of today, we have noted an interesting scenario here. As you can see, price action has been consolidating between the 146.300 and the 145.950 to further emphasize the level of indecision in this market. Now, it gives us a clue into how participants in the market are very uncertain at this point, especially when we are waiting for the Jerome Powell speech, which is coming up later in the day, and everyone is stepping aside in the market, a little bit risk averse to see what it will say. Is there likelihood of a potential interest rate hike in the next month? Well, we don't know until it comes up to give us an idea of what the monetary policy of the Federal Reserve is. But from a technical standpoint, let us look at this together. Now, if you look at the structure of this market since the beginning of this week, one thing for sure you would notice here is how the 146.300 had been a selling niche. So it's like a cap here where buyers are struggling and finding it difficult to break out of the structure. And because of the scenario here, the chances that sellers might come in now increases. Now, look at what happened here on Monday. We saw selling pressure here. We saw what happened here on Tuesday morning, and then the inability of price action to even come even closer to the 146.300 is a sign for me that we might likely be seeing a reversal move happen here. And if that is going to be the case, how do we intend to position ourselves for this move? Well, it is quite simple. So what I'm going to be doing here is to look out for selling opportunities below the 145.950 level. Now, one interesting thing about the 145.950 is the fact that it also shares a beautiful confluence with that ascending trend line, which is a very good scenario to look out for selling opportunities. So if price action breaks down the ascending trend line, then we want to see this as a signal that we might likely be seeing a momentum shift. And to jump into that position, remember that we are not getting too excited, neither are we having a sell stop order. You can have a sell stop order if you are part of us, part of the profitable journey this week, so you can afford to leverage on some of the profit you have made so far this week to test waters below the 145.950. But if you are joining us for the first time, then you want to see a breakdown, retest of structure before jumping into a sell position here. I'm of the opinion that it's likely that price action will drop from this current structure, but we shall keep our options as open as possible. So selling the USDJPY today, Friday, is below the 145.950. Anywhere below the 145.950, we want to be selling, and in fact, we have multiple levels here that can give us opportunities to maximize the potential of this bearish move. So let's see how the market will play out in the next couple of hours. Now, in as much as we're looking out for selling opportunities here, we still cannot ignore the potentials of buyers at this point. Price action has been bullish in the last 48 hours or so, and in fact at the beginning of the week we saw a bullish traction too as well before sellers came in to take over the market. Now, if we are going to consider adding more buy position to our existing trade, then definitely a breakout of the 146.300 is all we need to confirm and be comfortable adding more position to our existing trade. So if price breaks out of the 146.300, then at this point price will have taken out all the sell positions within the zone to give us a signal that buyers might likely be dictating the pace ahead of the weekend. So these are my views here on the USDJPY for today. I do hope I was able to make things as clear as possible, and of course you do want to be marking out these levels on your charts, as you will be needing them as a reference point to guide our trading activities for today. So our center of focus for the USDJPY for today is just right within the 146.300 and the 145.950, where depending on how price action reacts to this zone will determine where price action is likely going to be heading to for today's trading session. It's on this note, we shall be calling it a day here. This is the last asset on our watch list. But before we draw the curtain, if you have any questions whatsoever, let me know right in the comment section. So I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to see if there are any questions before we draw the curtain for today. And you can as well use that time to mark out these levels on your chart. All right, everyone, in the absence of no questions, I want to assume we're on the same page. So I just dropped the link to the XAU USD live monitoring window right in the comment section right now. For those who don't know what the XAU USD live monitoring window is all about, well, on the XAU USD live monitoring window, it starts about 5 to 10 minutes into the New York session. What we simply do here is to monitor the real-time price action on the XAU USD market, on how we take advantage of potential trading opportunities, how we manage our existing positions, and how we also strategically position ourselves for more trading opportunities. You really do want to be part of that session to have an insight into a real-time access into how I position myself for potential trading opportunities, especially during the New York session. So try to click on the link, click on the notify me button so that when I come online, you will be notified in due time. So thank you very much, guys. It has been a wonderful moment with you guys, and in fact it has been a very splendid week for us, as all the assets on our watch list, the GBPUSD, the XAUUSD, and the USDJPY, was on a very profitable side of our portfolio this week. It was only on the GBPUSD we had a stop loss at some point, and that was on Tuesday or so. Aside that, we have been quite profitable here. And once again, congratulations to everyone who has been part of this profitable journey so far this week. I look forward to seeing you guys in the comment section, and please don't forget to support this project. Your supports are very valuable to me. Click on the like button. Your likes are valuable, and in fact it also helps the YouTube algorithm to see this video and of course promote it to a wider audience of traders who may find this content beneficial to them too. Thank you in advance for doing so. I look forward to seeing you right in the comment section of both my trading view, Telegram, and of course during the XAUUSD live monitoring window late coming up much more later today as we continue to monitor price action. I wish you a wonderful evening. I also wish you a wonderful weekend. Do have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye-bye.